You in there?
Yep.
Okay, I'll just make one. All right. Tell me when you're going.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's see. I'm gonna check it off now. Let's see, I've got 30. I got a half hour of making.
You got a half hour?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 21 and a half hour. 21 and a half hour. That's 40 an hour. And 8 times 40 is 320. See, when I made the balls, it dropped down.
Right.
That's still 400, 380. Okay, I can't.
You can just take it off.
Yeah.
I'll take it off. It just comes right off, so you can.
Why don't you set it right there? So
Okay. Let's see if it'll. That might pick it up there. I'll keep listening here.
Now I'm gonna give instructions now. This is.
I think you have to wear that microphone, I think, for the instructions. If you're not going to walk around, it's too far away from you.
Okay. Well, I'll just make 2.
Yeah, I can bring you some more if you want, anyway.
Now, we're given instructions to make the small strawberry jar that we sell so many of at the pottery. The clay has already been measured out, and now step number 1, I put the clay on the wheel. Start the wheel, center the clay very fast. Take your finger right down in the center, right down to make the hole. Push out a little bit on the bottom to make the bottom. Push it in accordingly, and then in 2 draws, make it. This is 1 draw, and notice a very little water. And this is the 2nd draw. Now, the top is a little out of shape, so you pull the chop back into the correct shape. And then quite often, the top will be a little uneven. So you take a wire, straighten the top out, then now notice there's no smoothing board, absolutely no smoothing board on that. You use a smoothing board to cut under only. Cut it off, boom, go, go, go. Put it over on your pallet, get another, down, start the wheel, center the pot, down all the way to the floor, all the way down to make the hole in the bottom of the strawberry jar. Bring it up. Don't waste any motion. Bring it up in 2 draws. Number 1 draw coming up. Very sparing water. Water's put in like this, not at the bottom, and not a great big bunch of it. Always use slip. Slip. Got slip here, got slip here. Use slip. Number 2 draw coming up. Shape the belly. Shape the belly. And then number 3, bring the top into the desired height and the desired opening. As I say, quite often it'll be uneven. You have to take the time to get that off, and then round off your top. And there's the strawberry jar. Now, quite often they want a little ring around it. Just put your thumb on it. Make a little ring around it. No problem. It don't take a second to do that. Again, balls made up, bang. Center it. Takes 2 seconds to center it. Takes another couple of seconds to get the hollow where. Takes a few seconds to round the bottom off. And then in. Not spread out, but in. Now, 2 draws to make this pot. Number 1 draw coming up. Number 2 draw, shape the belly. Very little water and lots of slip. Slip is this stuff right here. No smoothing board up and down and playing with it. Smoothing board only to get the bottom straight. Okay, that's that. Making your own balls, steady work. You could come very close to making 400 of these a day. Very close. That's all I want to say on this. Well, that's all I'm going to make today.
Okay. That'd be fun. I'd love to do that. Okay. So I tried this second part. All right. So in this tape, I'm on it verbally, and I was going to ask you, Jimmy, about the Maloney family and about the tradition of business, owning your own business, and what you had thought about in terms of what you learned from your Maloney family. I know there was a brick factory in Newport News that I think your grandfather owned, and then Matt Roth had a butcher shop in Elyria, Ohio, and then Fred Roth, his son, had a clothing business in Elyria, which I believe you worked in when you were in high school. So I wanted to just get a few ideas from you. Really, I wanted to learn about leadership in business through a family tradition. What you had seen in your relatives, what you thought about that made sense to you, and you just, as you so eloquently put it, rolled up your sleeves and went to work.
Well, Funkin, you want to put focus on my family. My family is 2/3 Irish and 1/3 German, or 3/4, 1/4. And unfortunately, I didn't learn anything from them.
Maybe fortunately.
Not a thing. But I'm sure that my genes contain some German, fortunately. Because the Irish, such great people, but they're certainly not organizers. Just great salespeople. Like my dad, he was the most wonderful person in the world, but he didn't know nothing about business, nothing. And but he was a salesman.
You need some of those too.
I'll tell you, and promotion, I guess, is 90% of it. And my Uncle Fred was just marvelous. He'd come and rearrange the pottery and nice displays and things. But when it, I guess in retrospect, I guess I learned more from P.M. Griesner, who I first went to apprentice for, making the bricks and then the pottery. And he was a German too. But he was just great. At the time, working for him, he was a son of a gun. But in later years, he was just fantastic. He wouldn't walk, he'd run. And he'd come out, we'd be working for 10 hours, and he'd come out in his old Pontiac and take his hat and throw it down and say, "Hell's bell, 5 o'clock and nothing done." Every day. And then he would, such things, it teach you to work.
Yeah.
When you shoveling sand or clay or something, you don't shovel like this and then pull it back to you and then put it in the wagon. You do one motion, you go like this.
Whoa.
Boom. And you save motions.
Yeah.
He also, unfortunately, he wasn't a good businessman, but he was an artist, great artist. And he was very familiar with making bricks, and he was also very good at making pottery, but he couldn't turn either one of them into real money. So I had to leave him after several years of apprenticeship because he didn't have any money to pay. He couldn't pay my $6 a week.
$6. Was this 36 or something? 1937?
Some time ago. So then when you go to work for yourself, you just have to. You've got a little niche. I always like that. You got a little niche. And you have to stay in that. And during the 30s, everybody starved. We were just starving to death down to our last penny. And somebody would always befriend you and build you a kiln and lend you labor. Somebody helped. In those days, we had lots of help from outside, but primarily we had to do it. And we'd make pottery all day and put handles on at night and cut the wood to burn the kiln and work our own clay up, dig our own clay, from the clay, we dug it from the ground and sold it. That's where we made our money. Complete. It didn't. All we had to buy was a little bit of salt to throw in the salt glaze kiln. So we could sell things for 10 cents and make money on it.
Did you get that clay from the Chickahominy?
Yep.
You got it right
Yeah,
from
we got it from the Chickahominy. We used to come all the way from Charlottesville when I first started in Charlottesville, all the way down here, and take the clay back. And then I had some extra help there. I didn't have to pay either. There used to be some Charlottesville girls walking up the mountain to pick apples up on Carter's Neck there. And unfortunately, we kept whistling at them. They made a mistake of coming up. And one of my friends, I had one person working with me, and I told him, I said, now you tell these girls we got money hid up here. So they'll stay up here for a little while. They're still looking for the money. But I married one, and Johnny Venable, my friend, married one. So we had free labor.
Marry your labor. That's the first principle. You find good labor.
So, so I guess the business area, Punkin, really, it sort of comes along. You dig in that clay, you make your pots, and you sell them, and we put them in the truck, carry them to Baltimore, and New York or wherever, and bring the few dollars back and make some more. And then our retail business got better, and then we saved $1,000. I saved it, and with $1,000 we came down here to Lightfoot, and with that $1,000 we built the shed, built the kiln, set up the potter's wheel, and got wood to burn in the potter's wheel, and built a place to stay in the back. And built a darn good outhouse, one hole. That's great. And a well too. We dug a well for all of that.
It's 1939.
This must have been in 38.
38.
Yeah, before.
Okay.
But we got along pretty good there, and saved a little bit of money, and then the war came along, closed us up. And we had to send such things as tin oxide and uranium oxide. In those days, Punkin, the only people that used uranium was the pottery industry.
Oh my God.
The only ones that used it. We used it to put in our glaze. It made a fantastic glaze. I've used tons of it. Stir it up by hand. But we all got it. All the potters in the United States got a certified letter. Send every ounce of uranium. Every ounce. So immediately we packed it all up and sent it wherever it had to go to, and I don't think we ever got paid for it.
You never found out why they wanted it until after the war, though.
No. But you know how I found out?
How did you find it?
Well, there was a piece in the Saturday Evening Post that explained every iota how to make that atomic bomb.
Oh my God.
Every iota. The fact is, when it came out, the government confiscated all the copies. And I happened to see one. I said, that's where it is. For years, I was telling everybody they were going to make a bomb and how they were going to make it.
From the Saturday Evening Post.
The Saturday Evening Post. It's documented that they explained down to the last detail how to make it.
That's amazing.
And there went my uranium.
So what did you substitute for the uranium?
No, we closed up.
You just closed up.
Well, yeah, and people stopped traveling.
Right.
And no gasoline and so forth. So we closed up for a couple of years. And then went back into the business after the war, and people started traveling, and we kept in that same niche, making pottery. And then I guess one step we started with CW started cooperating with us, and we made their Hallmark things, or tried to make them. And did make them about maybe 14 or 15 pieces, and they sold it, and they also sold it to some of their stores. So that helped us out considerably, and we're still making a lot of their Hallmark pieces. Bird bottle and chowning mugs. And
I heard about the bird bottle.
Yeah.
That nobody could do it, and then it took you 7 years to put the fragments together and figure out what it was.
No, it wasn't that Punkin. What it was, they found the first one down at Jamestown.
Okay.
And Paul Hudson was the archaeologist down there for many years, and he kept it up. It was an almost intact birdhouse, and he kept it up on the shelf in Jamestown. And everybody came in there. He said, "What is that? What is that?" Nobody knew what the hell it was. There was a picture with a hole in the bottom.
Right.
But nobody knew. He asked me. I didn't know. Ask everybody. But one of CW's people went to England, and on an old print, they found an old house, and there, in the eaves of the house was a bird bottle.
Oh.
So immediately there was a bird bottle. And they had them. The inventory that they took so diligently. A lot of stores in Williamsburg had 5 bird bottles. So, but we always thought it was a little thing to feed the bird.
Yeah.
Bird bottle. So that's been very, very good for us all through the years.
And how did you get that relationship with CW? Did you know the people there,
Well,
or did they
yes.
happen to come by you through another person, or?
Yeah, some of the people that lived here that we've known since many, many years went to college and came back and worked for CW, so we had an in with them. and then Harold Sparks, and we had very good relations. And Noel Hume, one of the foremost archaeologists in the world. We worked with him very closely, and he did a lot of research in our kilns, trying to prove that Littler's blue was this and that and the other thing. So in those days we had very good relations with and still have it.
Yeah.
But they're different people.
They're different people. That's right. Most people have moved on.
Yeah.
You're still here. You're carrying on the tradition.
Still making bird bottles.
That's pretty great. So that after that, so you had the relationship with CW. You were making all of their things. How did you expand your factories into more areas? You've got woodworking, cement, silk flowers.
Back when we were on the curve of the road before we widened 60 and before 168, that was the only road to Richmond. And I had working for me my brother-in-law, Johnny Venable. He worked for me for years and years. He was a very good potter. And we made a lot of pot, had a lot of stuff on the 10-cent shelf, but then we got into the buying and selling area, and I got into that by accident. Somebody gave us some dishes, and we threw them out on the hill, and instead of buying our pottery, they bought the dead dishes. So we found out where they bought them, so we bought a pickup truck, and off we went, and that started the buy and sell business. And one of the things that comes into this, Pumpkin, is when you have a pottery like this, you're a slave to 5 people. 5 people you're a complete slave to. And I never want to be a slave to anybody. So when I started buying and selling and importing stuff, the whole world worked for me. I didn't care if these people quit or not, but they didn't quit. But you were a slave when you
to the potters.
To the potters.
If they didn't do their
job, they didn't show up, we closed up.
Right.
So you're a slave. So we got out of that. We're not a slave to them, but they're doing very well, and we're training new ones. Always training new ones. Got some new apprentices that are doing very well.
So you started with the import-export as a result of your buying locally. You just expanded the buy-sell program out into other countries and Mexico.
Yeah, but mostly Japan in those days were a great supplier of ours, and Taiwan and Hong Kong. Fortunately, you know that we've got a lot of friends. They're nothing like friends, and I was just completely gave up in the Orient. Completely gave up, and I happened to run across a friend of mine who's an old hand there, and I went with him. He introduced me to brokers and agents, and we still use them.
That's amazing. So that was an accident?
That was Sid Darwin, the most wonderful person in the world. I met him at Hilton Hotel. I said, "Damn, Sid, I'm sure glad to see you. These people, they are steering me wrong." Talking to bankers. That's the worst people in the world to talk to is bankers.
Yeah, we can tell that now.
So Sid Darwin opened up areas for me that we're still using.
What year would that have been? Is this in the 50s?
That was in the 60s when I first went over there. Yeah, we had accumulated little money. I think we had something like $400,000 to spend over there. But that was the start.
And did you build another building to go with that? Was that about the time you did the roundhouse when you got into the import business? Because I remember that roundhouse was a big expansion.
And then we opened up silk flower house and the crystal house, and one after another. Just as we needed it, we just built it.
Yeah.
If we had the money, we never. The damn banks wouldn't lend us no money. It was probably a good thing.
Well, you've never borrowed money, right?
No.
No.
Well, here lately we've been buying property and things, and we've had to lengthen it because they don't want money, and they want the interest on the money.
That's right. The banks.
But as far as our expansion of the pottery itself goes, we've done that all with accumulated cash.
Well, that was a smart move when you look back now with a lot of businesses that got very leveraged. So would you say to somebody who was just starting out to think about doing an all cash, try to be self-sufficient in the beginning and build up? Or most people are out leveraging away, borrowing money.
Well, that's the capitalist system, Pumpkin. And unfortunately, the damn Irish in us didn't dumb enough. We couldn't use the capitalist system. We shouldn't use it.
It was the Irish problem.
We're too damn dumb to use the system. Go for it. It's other people's money. What the hell?
Use other people's money.
We used our own money, so we had to be careful.
Well, maybe if somebody was starting out, you wouldn't put that in one of your principles. Would you, if you had it to do all over again, would you do what you've done as far as not borrowing money?
Oh, well, I don't know, Pumpkin. I really think that the capitalist system is a great system, and that system is to use other people's money.
All right.
I don't advise people to wait for 5 years before they build a chicken coop. If the bank will trust them. But I do firmly believe in if you go into business, not just open the store and wait for the traffic to come to you. Always do something that you can get out and knock on doors so that the fate is in your hands and not in the little people that come by the door. For instance, right now, the things that we make, and we go to shows and we sell at wholesale all around. We now depend upon just the little customers that walk by the door. And that's the same with the cement factory, and the same with the silk flower factory. We have our fate in our own hands, and it's up to us to do it, and we don't depend upon the walk-by traffic. And unfortunately, that's the way most people do. They see a shop in the mall and they rent it, and boom. You don't know.
Get the noose on the neck.
Their fate isn't in their hands.
Yeah.
It's in the people that walk by.
Well, you've got fields of factory here, so that what percentage of your business? I mean, you've got hundreds. I saw hundreds of buses, it seems to me, today out there. I don't know how many people are coming here a day. Thousands and thousands, I guess.
Quite a few.
What percentage would you sell? 20% to?
Somewhere's around that, Pumpkin, and we're trying to raise it.
Okay, so you want more factories.
We do better on our stuff we make more profit on it, and still give better buys than our buying and selling.
So fields of factories is a sort of a goal for the future.
Yeah. We're putting emphasis on things that we know. We're trying to stay in our little niche too. Not get out that damn niche.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a great niche. So the main principles that you're talking about here are sort of have your own niche. That would be the first one. And have good relationships with the people in the community that have really helped you out a lot to expand.
That's right. Keep the goodwill of the devil. You might need them someday. I've needed them quite often.
My boss, Dr. Bowen, used to say, he said, if you had a high enough level of maturity, you could be married to the devil. Get along with him.
Have him on your payroll.
Have him on your payroll.
You might need them. I know of people, we've been to court condemning some of our property. Hell, we get tremendous value out of it, because somebody on that jury is a good friend of ours. Yeah. And I know other people who have a tendency not to make friends get less, a whole lot less.
Okay. A lot of good relationships through the years, especially in a small community like Williamsburg. Yeah. But for anybody that was going to go into business, to think about being a leader. in business. You got to think about that.
Oh yeah, being that we we have four. Right now we're restructuring the pottery. Well, in
Yeah,
case you know,
I've been watching.
first we have 4 things. First, be nice. That's the first thing.
Okay.
First, be nice. Of course, that you can write a library on that.
Yeah.
Be nice, and you can't overemphasize it. You've got to be nice. And the second is plan ahead. Plan ahead, and without planning ahead, you're dead too. You're
Right.
absolutely dead. And then the next one is the hardest, very hardest for us, is to work steady.
Yeah.
Work steady, and that is the hardest thing for us to put our hands on, with the way we've restructured in the past. And then the fourth one, which unfortunately is down the line a little bit, is share the profit.
After you've worked
They
steady.
got to do the first 3 first, and then they'll share the profit.
That sounds good. Sounds good. Well, you're running a family business too, and most of your family has already shared the profit and gotten out.
Yeah, and we're still here paying them.
Right. That's right. But you've got
well, they're all good problems. And I open every meeting. Every meeting, you got your health.
Yeah.
All the others are good problems.
Yeah, you got an open door problem.
Yeah,
People can come in and they can go out.
Yeah, they're going to be here always, but they're good problems.
Yeah.
And so many of our friends have, gosh, some of them have Lou Gehrig's disease, and you know,
Right.
oh gosh, you're just happy you're up walking around, healthy.
I'll say settle for that. So that would be another overriding factor in being able to run a business.
Gotta be
You gotta have your health.
Yeah, I'd encourage them to take off during the day and get out and jog for a couple miles.
Yeah.
To take care of that. They what's a darn to us if they got healthy. we're very selfish about that.
You're looking out for the other people, you're looking out for yourself. Well, is there anything else that you can think of? I thought that early experience with out there with Uncle Fred and all of that.
Well, they
having that beginning start in business.
One of the main things they did, they were able to take care of the kids while Gloria and I got out and hustled. That's a tremendous thing. Where are you going to leave these kids?
Yeah. So
and you know, my dad was a wonderful influence on me.
Yeah.
Telling stories, just a great influence.
Yeah, I can remember your dad had the most beautiful silver gray hair, and he always had time.
Yeah.
He must have been retired by the time I was growing up.
Yeah, he retired early, and he came to work with me.
And he was a machinist, right? So he
all his life he was a machine. Worked with his hands.
Worked with his hands too.
He wouldn't take a job as a boss. He would refuse that.
Right. Didn't want to tell people what to do.
Didn't want no problems.
Didn't want the problem. Well, you got over that. You don't mind being a boss.
No.
He didn't pass that on to you.
No.
No. I don't mind being a boss either, but my 2 brothers mind it.
Yeah.
So when am I going to get over being a boss?
I think maybe their real trouble is they don't like to be mean.
Yeah.
And you got to be mean to be a boss. You got to have a mean streak.
A mean streak or strict?
Well, same thing. They call it the same thing.
They call it the same thing. I've seen you a few times say, well, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? And the people will get sort of, I think they get good posture is what I call it. They stand up straight. You know, it seems to me I would think about it more as being strict and wanting to know why people are doing what they're doing, what their thinking is, and just kind of checking up on them, making sure that they know that you're going to hold them accountable.
Yeah, that's true.
That's strict.
Yeah.
But mean might be, you know, I don't know. It sounds like you might spank them.
Well, economy, that's the most important thing. Just hold that over. They don't get no raises if we don't get the bottom line up. The period. You don't have to be mean to tell them that.
It's just strict. Well, that makes sense to me.
Talking with anything else that?
Well, that was the main thing. Now look at it and see you know, that was the main thing. Just what was on your mind about what had helped you to put your business together, keep it together, and what you were focusing on. That's what I wanted to get to.
Well, one thing that helps you along the way too is to be dumb enough not to accept the better job, and stick to your niche. Stick to your niche. If I was smart enough, hell, I'd have given the damn pottery business up and taken the job as assistant manager someplace. But nobody offered me a job, so I had to stick to it. So it pays to be ignorant. What's that show? There used to be a show. It makes you stick in your niche.
Okay, I hear that. Well, I appreciate you doing this, and I look forward to looking at it and see if it comes out.
Okay. And we'll do some research on that training program that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
We'll write a book on that.
Okay. That'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta get.
Okay.
Duncan, I gotta get down the road.